Good morning and welcome to a brand new beautiful day. Right now I am working on getting this beef broth can up. We are working on trying to chip away a little bit at what we have in the freezer because we have a steer that we butchered last week that's going to be coming and taking up all of our freezer space in a couple weekends from now. So I took out a few beef bones. I roasted them yesterday for a good long time and then I simmered it for hours and hours. So this morning it is time to can it up. The only things that I added to it were onions, garlic, and salt. The rest of it is just the roasted bones. There's a little bit of extra meat on here that I want to take off, and maybe, I don't know, we'll do tacos or something later today. But other than that, we're just going to go ahead and strain it. The canner is getting hot, ready to go, and then later we have quite a bit of domestic pork that we have in the freezer of various different cuts. Some of them are from pigs that we raised for a short time. We're not set up for pigs right now, so we slaughtered them when they were a lot smaller than they could have been. They could have been 400 pounds. But we have a lot of domestic pork in the freezer, and my sweetheart said that he would be more likely to take something out of the freezer and use it if it were ground pork. And I said, okay, let's make ground pork then. So I've got a bunch of that, different roasts and pork belly, a lot of different things taken out of the freezer. Our cooler is a little bit too good. It did not defrost over yesterday and last night, so I have some in the sink. I separated them out to give some airflow, and hopefully they'll defrost pretty soon so we can bust out the grinder and grind it up. But the only thing I am separating here is a little bit of this meat. Tastes like corned beef, a little bit. The texture is like corned beef. Now, with bone broth, you certainly can strain it through cheesecloth. I choose not to because I feel like it catches a little bit too much of the fat, and I personally really like to have fat in my broth. So I go through a very fine mesh strainer instead without the cheesecloth. wait. We're basically all set. So we still need to check about what meat is defrosted and also cut it up into chunks that are acceptable sizes for the grinder. And also the canner is ready. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the heat on the canner and get our other jars ready. They've cooled down quite a bit. I didn't put the lid on yet because I was afraid that the heat of the broth might do something funny with the lid. So I just wanted to play it safe, but these are ready now for me to clean off the rims, put the lids on, and have them ready for when the canner comes down, we'll put these in. We ended up with a total of 7 pints and 7 quarts, plus a little leftover for a taste test, and so good. So we have a mixture of different cuts over here. We have pig leg roast. That's not the proper term for it. We have various different like leg of pig, like you would do a leg of lamb kind of a thing. But we have pork belly, we have tenderloins. We have a whole good mixture of different cuts, different roasts, and we're going to go ahead and mix them all together. You can clearly see that there's a difference between the pork tenderloins and the pork belly. So we're going to mix the leaner with the fattier and just have a really nice, probably on the fattier side, mix of ground pork. I'm noticing right away that there is a huge difference between a domestic pig that's been fed and taken care of than a wild pig. These layers of meat and fat and just the healthy color, I'm really excited about this. Did it. I'm not sure how much meat this is, but I'm finally done cutting it out. Now we need to check on the canner and swap those out real quick, and then we'll get to grinding. There's so much pork and my fingers are wrinkly. So I did leave this cracked for about 10 minutes, and during that time I could hear those lids going. When I'm canning something that is strictly liquid, this is not a rule or anything. This is not something to count on. But what I've noticed is that when I'm canning something that is liquid, typically if I bring the jars out at the right time, which is right now, about 10 minutes after it comes down from pressure, I notice that they're still boiling. And every single time that I personally have had a jar of strictly liquid come out of the canner and it wasn't active like this, see that? Every time it wasn't active, those ones did not seal properly, and I put them in the fridge and used them within the next few days. All of these are still boiling, and that makes me very happy. I usually put my jars on top of a cutting board so that I can pick this whole thing up gently, move it, set it over there until tomorrow so it can cool down all by itself. Well, that was a very busy day. We did get everything done, and it is later in the evening now. We got everything all cleaned up and in the freezer, ready to go. And while I was running errands, afterwards, when I was running errands today, I grabbed some, I think they're usually made for sock bins or things like that. But I got the idea, I think it was from Papaikou Homestead. And anyway, whoever it was, they were organizing their freezer with these collapsible cloth-like type bins. So I grabbed some of those, and I'm gonna have what's left in our freezer all nice and organized real soon, and then it will be nice and organized before the new cow comes. But right now I'm in a rush against time because the sun is going to go down, so I've got to get these guys all fed and buttoned up for the evening. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Hamakua Homestead. I'll see you again soon.